my new home. Come on in, we'll show you around. All right, I'm here with the owner of VPX, Jack Owoc. And Jack, you know, I remember you, I think it was maybe 15 years ago, you came to the Arnold Classic and you had this little blue bottle with a little, like, plastic syringe, saran wrapped around it, and you said to me, look at my new product, this is going to be the greatest new product of all time. Do you remember what product that was?
Yes, it was Paradeca.
And where did that idea come from? Is that how VPX originally started?
First of all, I remember when I saw you, because I kind of freaked out. This guy had long workout pants on, and I guess it's your femoral artery or whatever it is running down his leg. You could see it through his long pants. I guess this guy is a true freak. And he was walking around, and it was the Arnold, and you were bigger than most of the competitors, and I was wondering, why isn't this freak on stage? And we started talking, and you were very knowledgeable about science. So, you know, my big exciting thing was I didn't know that many people in the industry, but to show this to you and also to show it to Dan Duchesne, who had just gotten out of jail.
Right. Dan was there, and I remember you guys took that famous picture of Dan holding up the bottle of the Paradeca.
Yeah, and I have that picture, so you'll be able to view that later. But one of the things, Dan was just getting out of jail, and kind of, I think Muscle Media and Bill Phillips pushed him to the side. They wanted to go more mainstream, and he wanted to get some publicity. So I said, do you mind if I use this picture? I didn't know back then you needed to sign a release and all this. He said yes. He was a man of his word. And Flex magazine actually rejected it because it had Dan Duchesne in. So I was irate. I said, why can't this be in there? And they go, one of the W's, quote unquote, meaning I think it was Eric Weider, rejected the ad. I guess he didn't like Dan Duchesne or whatever, so I couldn't put the ad in there. But nobody knew anything about viral marketing because that thing had a syringe on it and everything like that. It's not really a syringe.
That was your idea, right? No one ever did that before.
Right, yes. But you couldn't, it's actually not a syringe. It's like the bottom pieces of a syringe. It's actually patented because you can't put a needle on it. Because what was happening...
Screwed onto the top of your bottle, didn't it?
Yeah, well, no, you put a little special bottle top on where you can draw it out. And it kind of had the same feel as using steroids. It was a pro steroid. We created a delivery system to kind of almost like an injection. It was a polylipid delivery system, which is long chain polymers and fats, so that if you can imagine active ingredients encased within that, they go into your bloodstream and they're released slowly into the bloodstream.
And no one was doing this in the industry. Where did you innovatively come up with this idea?
I used to teach chemistry, and your intestines are lipophilic. They're fat level.
You taught chemistry to high school kids?
Well, mostly discipline, a little bit of chemistry.
Gotcha. Okay.
You work on 3 disciplined kids and you teach maybe 5-10 minutes a day.
But you always were interested in chemistry. You were a chemist by nature.
Well, for 9 years I taught 6 different science disciplines, and I got fired every year. In 9 years I was in 8 different schools.
Why was that?
I'm kind of a leader. It's why I run this company, so I was always at odds with administration. If something was broke, I'd fix it, and I didn't understand that you're not allowed to tell the principal what to do.
You like to march to your own drum.
Well, not necessarily that, but I'm a leader, and so if you see bad leadership and you tend to take over a situation, you're going to get in a confrontation. So that's kind of what happened throughout.
So how did you start VPX? Because this is an interesting story, because a lot of people don't know the story behind this. What was the first product you ever produced? Was it the Paradeca? And how did you actually even get the idea to call it VPX?
What I wanted to do, it's a good question, because you just saw downstairs, we went through everything, and most of the people you see down there are formerly from pharmaceutical companies. Like when IVAX moved, we hired their top chemical engineer. He specialized in liquids and semi-solids.
But before all this, you had no money to do this, didn't you? I mean, where did the money come from? You must have had an idea that started the whole process.
Well, I was teaching school, and I was doing a bunch of people's diets, but instead of just doing the diet and training them, I was using supplements, but I was using other people's supplements. And what happened early on is 2 incidences. One is there was a product called Egg Pro, and as a scientist, I was getting a loss of about 4 to 6% body fat a month on just regular individuals with training, diet, and supplementation, using a fat burner, proteins, different things like that. And one of the months went by and nobody lost any body fat. And so as a scientist, it's real simple. You're into science. You go, okay, what variable did I change? Well, I went from, back then it was egg protein. I went from Beverly Egg Protein, which is to me a high quality brand, to this Egg Pro. and because they were out of the Beverly, and put my clients on that. No one lost weight, so I sent it out to be tested because, you know, I taught 9 different science disciplines. I knew you could have these stuff tested even way back then. And this product was 90% carbohydrate and 10% ash. There was no egg protein in it. And it said 100% egg white albumin on the label.
So you got frustrated with the fact that these companies were lying about what they were putting in there?
Right. And then in another instance, one was called Egg Pro and Pro Egg. I don't know which was which, but one was by a company called MedSport out of Florida here. My friend was a pro basketball player. So I recommend, again, back then, you know, egg protein was the thing. He goes, you know, I'm allergic to milk. He goes, recommend me an egg protein. So I gave him the Pro Egg by MedSport. So he asphyxiates and almost chokes to death in the shower. And he has to pound on the glass. Wife has to take him to the hospital. And I wrote about both of these incidences in Debbie Bakery's Natural Muscle. And people were irate, and I developed a huge following because people were pissed, and I started testing all the supplements. And then I was teaching school, and I could barely pay my bills. And there was really no teaching. School's all discipline. It's just you're dealing with all society's ills.
You're a babysitter.
Right. So I tested these products. I wrote about it. Following became bigger and bigger. And then Debbie's phone started ringing off the hook, and these people wanted to know, look, you need to develop a product. And I go, wow, this is easy because all you really have to do is put what's in the product on the label. I don't want to stop there. I mean, you know, I'm a scientist and just taking things further and further. I wanted to create great products, but I remember something clicked in my mind. And I go, this industry's ripe for the taking over. Nobody's ethical. Everybody's ripping everybody off. And I started creating my own supplement. And to answer your question, the first product I came out with, I was too complicated, always am, kind of like you, but it's ATP resynthesizer, and it was a creatine type product.
I remember that, yeah.
And it sold like crazy. I mean, it was a good little mix. And
you were really grassroots at the time. You were just selling to your base of listeners and followers,
right?
Essentially.
So what I did at that time, about the same time, is that I realized the school teaching thing was not happening for me. I could barely pay my bills. And I had a son. He was 2 years old, and I owed money at the end of every month. So I was going to vitamin wholesalers, buying about $700 to $1,000 dollars worth of product a week. So I go,
you were reselling it to your clients.
So I started to. It was interesting because my dad and I went, and the rent was $600. My dad's old school. There was a lot of vacancies, and this thing was in the back of a Winn-Dixie where all the dumpsters were. There were rats everywhere. And my dad's offering the guy $300 when it's $600. He's not offering him $500. We're sitting there in a battle in the parking lot, and the guy
must have been embarrassed too, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was, but I learned a lot from my dad about business, about sticking to your point. But my dad kept sticking to $300. This guy kept coming down. My dad would never counter with $350. He would counter with $300. And my dad kept going, look, it's $300 more than you have today. None of these places are rented. So what transpired was I felt bad for the guy. He was about to cry. So I go, okay, $350, and he was relieved, and he took the deal.
So you got a store rent for $350 a month.
$350, and that's still cheap, back then, because the average rent in the area was about $800 to $1,000 bucks. Mm-hmm. So now, coincidentally, in the back of this store, there was a chiropractor, and he had set up a place where he can get a shower and stuff, so that he wouldn't have to go home and he can run his business. But it was only 700 square feet, and I called it Vita House. Nobody knew why, but it was vitamins in the front, house in the back.
Oh, you were living there?
Yes.
Wow. Sleeping
on an air mattress. And all my friends were making fun of me. The hurricane came. They wedged a big tree in front of my door because I wouldn't go out partying with them. But it was fun, and it developed a huge cult following because people go, oh, yeah, this guy's a freak, and he doesn't wear a shirt. What I would do is I didn't know anything about business, man. The first person knocked on the door, I'd just get up and answer, in my shorts. I'd be all ripped, like eating protein all day. And it developed a huge cult following, and soon, outside the store, it was really cool because there'd be all these Ferraris, vets, stuff. I go, all these guys aren't working during the days. Of course, this was during the Scarface days, and people had money.
So they were coming to your store to buy supplements?
Yeah, but then they started hanging out there, and they're all beach chairs out in front, people mixing protein shakes.
So it was like a little community. It was like a hostel almost going on there.
Yeah, so way before viral marketing, this thing created a huge viral thing because
before the internet, really.
Yeah, people would go to this guy, he's like a freak, he knows everything about nutrition. And I didn't, like, if you wanted back then it was all Champion, Heavyweight Gainer 900 or Metabolol or whatever. Here's a box cutter, go find it. You'd have to open the cardboard box yourself to find it. So it was creating this huge viral thing, and I didn't even know, but it was so busy that I had no time to stock the shelves. I used to try, but then I gave up.
So at what point when you were in the store did you actually launch your own product?
Probably about almost immediately after a year, I launched a creatine product. And then I remember whey protein isolate and reading about it and understanding it. And Glambia was a different name back then, but they had the first cross-flow microfiltration whey isolate. And I knew that the ion exchange process, what happened was you blow the protein up in a big tube and it sticks to the resin. One's positively charged, one's negatively charged. But what happens is it leaves out all the low molecular weight the high molecular weight peptides, low molecular, that you want in there, like the IGF-1, the bovine serum albumin, all those. And so I realized it was a bad process, but this cross-flow microfiltration yielded all those IGF-1, IGF-2, bovine serum albumin, CCK, glycomacropeptides. So I go, wow, this is so we weren't first with a whey isolate because there was.
What was the name of yours?
It was called CFM.
Right, I remember.
And then what happened was we got so popular, so all the big companies, this was great on Debbie's magazine. I had Myoplex, Champion, all these products, and I go, these products contain whey concentrate, and there was Doritos.
No one used
because
no one used isolates back then. You were
right.
one of the first people that I remember.
Yeah, and we were the first with 100% whey isolate. People would sprinkle it in there, but nobody really, came. So what I did though is I got all the top selling products by Champion, Myoplex, all the big players. Twin, your buddy is at Twin Lab. And I put these, and I sprinkled Doritos all over them with a big Doritos bag, because Doritos contains whey concentrate.
Yeah.
So I go, these products contain whey protein concentrate. In the bottom half of the ad, because Debbie had a real big magazine, I go, this product is whey protein isolate.
That was your product, yeah.
So they all called her, but her magazine became super popular because
of that ad?
Yeah, well, because of that ad, because of the articles calling all the supplement companies out. I didn't know back then, and Debbie would be so elated because her phone was literally ringing off the hook, and she would call me later crying, they're all going to sue me. I go, well, you have no money. And I got retained samples for everything that I tested. So I go, don't worry about getting sued.
Was that your first big product that really put you on the map, so to speak, as far as making money goes?
It all contributed, selling other people's supplements, and then people liked our supplements the best because I would always go that extra mile. I didn't just like nowadays, I should care more about profitability. I make the product first, and it's, look, here's what's in it, here's what's got to be in it. If you want to pay the price, fine, but if you don't, that's what it costs to make it. And you saw what we did downstairs.